let's get building the Keter Store It Out arc. Reckons it'll take me 25 minutes. Let's put that to the test. Things you're going to need to make your life easy here, ideally a electric screwdriver or drill, a pair of scissors, the instructions, a Phillips head screwdriver, and I've opted for a PH2 in the drill itself. All comes nicely flat packed, a bit of polystyrene on the sides, a bit of a windy day today. I just ended up chasing a little bit around the garden, but let's get going. First thing you're going to want to do is just get a reasonably flat surface and get the base down, and then there's a little bit of metal running back here. You just want to get this out and get it out of the way, just for now, put it somewhere safe. Step one's super easy, base on the floor, two sides. They only go on one way, so you can't get this bit wrong. You're going to want to push them down until they click. Once you've clicked it in, just make sure these little bits here are sticking through a little bit. That's what gives it that proper click. First time I did that, it sort of clicked, but that hadn't popped in, so just check that. Next up, you've got these two black panels, and what you're going to want to do is basically turn one of these over, so they've both got arrows on, doesn't really matter which one. Flip one over, and then what you'll see from this side is they basically butt up together. So one sits on top of the other. You can see that. So again, doesn't really matter which way around you do it. And then from here, we're going to stick some screws through these holes here. You want to make sure when you're drilling this, you've got a nice tight edge all the way down. Screws just in there, and then drilling down from there. I always find when drilling into plastic, it's always sort of steady as you go. So if you haven't got a drill with a clutch, i.e. different speeds like this, then you're just as well using a hand screwdriver, because you don't want to go too hard and too fast into plastic. It's good to get the party started, get your pilot hole with the drill, and then tighten up a little bit just by hand, so you're not making a mess of the screws and blunting them off and rounding them off. Now we've got this panel screwed together, we're going to take it and we're going to drop it into the back section of the storage unit, where you've got these little hooks in here, and this is just going to slot straight in to this section here, dead easy. After a couple of little goes at it, I think I found the best way of doing this really is if you just sort of get one side in, and both these sides flex quite easily. So once you've got that one side in, you're almost just flexing it and then pushing the other side down with a little bit of force. Back of here, you've got the arrows externally facing upwards, and as you come around the front here, you can see internally you've got the arrows at the bottom facing down, so you know that you've got it the right way. And then next thing you're going to want to do is grab hold of that metal piece we had earlier, and then that's going to want to sit just on top of here, and there's only one way around it will go, which was the other way, which just slots that sort of shape into there. Now, worth noting that this bar is actually ever so slightly longer than the plastic back panel itself, which I didn't realise. So you just got to try and get it evened out, and then this, ideally, this next step is where you're going to need a second person to hold it in place while you get some screws on either side of the unit. As you're putting these in, this wants just sort of a bit of gentle encouragement to be able to get the sides on. So some of these little plastic bits down here will catch. So what you want to do is just make sure it's nice and flush, and then from the back, just basically level it out, and then you can start screwing the back in. With the back now on and the sides nicely squeezed in and tucked in, the little eyelets here where we're going to be sticking screws through, what I've noticed is that the actual metal bar does not line up with the holes, and I've tried with that, and having built one of these previously, what I've ended up having to do is actually just tap with a little drill bit into there, and just basically put a screw straight through it. If you've got a screwdriver, electric screwdriver, you can just tap it straight with a screw, which is what I did actually, and that seems to work absolutely fine. But the key thing you want to make sure is that these plastic eyelets here are actually going to go straight through a solid piece of plastic the other side where you've got this here. You don't want these firing through into just blank space, otherwise they're going to have nothing to bite into. So start at the bottom, get your bottom ones in to start with. Ideally, if you've got a second person, just to hold the sides steady for you, and as you put these in, and then finish on these top ones at the metal. And as I say, you're just going to have to go straight through that metal, but it's not going to cause you any problems. Well, it certainly didn't for me, disclaimer. Again, just another little tip: if you squeeze too hard one side, the other side is going to be right out. And again, if you squeeze too hard on this side, then this side's going to pop out. So you really want to be hugging both sides, or get somebody else to hold both sides for you, and you're just going to end up with a sort of a slightly in between at the top. So there's going to be ever so slightly a gap at the top there that you can see on both sides, rather than in a really big gap on one side. But as you go through and drill this and screw these sides in, just make sure you squeeze all the way up, and then it's nice and tight from top to bottom. There's no mention of this in the instructions, but I've just decided to flip it on its side. I'm putting this together myself, so just to give myself a little bit more pressure as I sink the screws in and get these bottom ones put in. I've dropped it onto its side just to make it a little bit easier to work with. I've already now gone through and just basically countersunk those screws there through the metal, and again, one of them was sort of through the hole. This one definitely wasn't, so that's just created a new hole for it. But again, no mention of that in the instructions, but it's not caused any problems for me. Right, now step 6 is done. I'm going to move on to step 7, which is just sticking these little half moon type shapes onto the side of the lid itself. So with these, we're going to stick 2 screws through these holes when we're done, and really easy, these just line up and with a little whack slot in nice and easy. 2 sides, and then we'll drill those in. And the wind is seriously picking up. Right, on to step 9. Got this little plastic latch here. This just drops into here and sits into these holes like that. And again, this is on the outside of the box here on the lid, and we're just going to screw that in, and then we're on to number 10. On to number 10, we can take the gas lifts, pick them open and open them up, and you've got one of these. And then all we're going to do with this is line up the 2 holes here, with the 2 holes here, and they just slot in. I don't think there's a right or a right way around for these, both exactly the same. So I'm just going to drop those in there like that, and then we can see here 2 holes lined up. I'm going to stick 4 screws, 2 in each, on that one. I've got these on now. I couldn't get the drill into to this one at the back, so ended up just having to use the hand screwdriver for that one. But they're now all looking good. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick the lid up, and we're going to slot the lifts into these 2 holes here. So I've literally just dropped that lid into place. I've not even put any screws in there, but that's holding it nice and steady. So perfect fit between those lifts and the runners, if you like, for them. So I'll now get these screwed in on both sides, 4 screws. Okay, we've got the lid on, all screwed in. Going to be looking at the doors now. The door handle, which is just the one with the 2, is on the left hand side as you look at the box, and the one here, which is where the lock sits, the slider, is on the right hand side. What we're going to do now is we're going to stick the little lock in the bottom left hand corner of the right hand side door, which is this piece and this piece. So these will slot in, and we'll have a look at how to do that now. First bit that goes on is this bit with the fat end first. So we're going to drop that into there, give it a bit of a wiggle round. So this is going to go up and down to keep the doors nice and secure once it's shut. And then this bit here with the top end there, you're going to want to put this around there, hold that up so a little bit easier to see. And again, same shape, so that's just going to go over the top of there, and then we're just going to work that down into there. Push that through. So that'll sit nice and tightly in there like that. Dead easy. And then on this side, we've then got 3 screws. Okay, I've got this secured now, but these 3 screws were really quite grumpy about going in, and one of them is sitting just proud. So I think what I'm probably going to do is actually just remove that one there and just go with 2. Not a fan of leaving stuff sticking out. So I think that for me is not going anywhere, and it's not providing any problem, or not causing any problem, and yeah, all good. The instructions have got it the other way around, but I'm going to put all these together and then get these on the doors while the doors are loose, and I can work with them rather than putting them on the hinges and then trying to put these on. So this, that easy, slides into there, and then squeeze that bit into there. Nice and easy, and then that's going to want to line up with the door handle. Make sure you put the door handle on the right way round, so one side solid, one side's got a hole, and he says that will slot into there. That's the way round you're going to want it. So I'm going to go and pop these, and I'm going to attach them onto these bits here. Obvious shapes of which one goes where. Okay, next 2 bits, we've got the hinges for the doors. They come sort of attached together with a couple of little bits of plastic, but just pull apart, which is probably obvious, but just for the avoidance of doubt. So got those the wrong way around. So this one wants to slot over here. So that's gonna slot in here like that, and then get pushed right in. And same on this side. That's gonna slot in there like that. Oops, and that's gonna get pushed in like that. So what we want to do here is, put that in, we're going to drop that into here like that, and then we're going to line it up, and then down at the bottom here you've got a little pivot point, so drop that onto there like that, and then at the top here this is just going to fit in here like this. And sorry about the jerkiness, just trying to do it all one-handed. And then that will just push in and go flush once I've got two hands to do it. And then same on the other side, obviously. Once you've dropped these hinges in and you've got the pivot point at the bottom and you've got this little bit connected into the top here, best way to do this is just to open the door right up like that and then all in and just give it a good shove. And again, once I've got two hands, that'll go and slide in nice and easily. So there we have it. That is the completed box. A couple of other little bits in the pack are these two chains and these two hooks. If you have a look at the instructions, what they're actually for, which is quite a nice idea, is if you're using this for bin storage, you can attach the hooks and the chains, and then when you open this lid, that will actually open up the bin lids, so you can throw the bin bags in inside it. But apart from that, I mean, I'm not using it for that. I'm using it to store the kids' crap, which you've seen probably all over the garden. And that's it, all fits together nicely. Push that down. Then that all lines up there if you want to secure it, and stick a padlock through it. And there we go. Beautiful.